The barangay is the oldest and smallest form of government in the Philippines, dating back to pre-colonial era. The role of the barangay is to serve as the implementing arm of government by providing immediate services to the community.
Katarungang pambarangay na binigay po ng national through the DILG, gampanan ang sinasabi pong katarungan. Kasi po bilang kapitan, may power po ako na masasabing dictate by the government na implement the rules of law na sinasabi po nga natin na walang kaibigan, walang kamag-anak. So, in any rule po, by the book, kung nagkamali, kailangan patunayan mo, bigyan mo na implement kung as head ka of the barangay.
The barangay also serves as a venue or forum where residents of a barangay can express their problems and have their disputes with other members of the barangay settled.
Sa amin po, krimen, sa case po namin, maganda po ang pananaw namin. Pagharapin, bigyan ng kapwa ng pag-uusap, ibigay ang mga ebidensya at gagawin po namin na nararapat para magkabate ang dalawang panig. Mga krimen na masasabi po natin na lumalabas lang po pagka medyo ma-pride. Sa konting bagay lang ay ayaw po makipagkasundo, binibigyan po namin ng medyo mahaba-habang pag-uusap. Pero kung humingi sila ng endorsement para i-file ang action to doon sa higher court, wala po kang magagawa.
Under the Local Government Code of 1991, the barangay has the power to settle cases such as maltreatment, physical injuries, qualified trespass to a dwelling, coercion, abandonment, thefts, acts of lasciviousness, and many others.
Ang kagawain naman po ng Lupon ay ito pang timbangin, pag-aralan, at magbigay ng advice. Hindi po hatol, kundi po payo sa mga taga-barangay upang ang kanilang problema ay magkaroon ng ganap na kalutasan sa pamamagitan ng mabalayang talakayan.
However, many people are not aware of the power that the barangay and the Lupon has over settling a wide range of cases. How does the Lupon work? What happens during a hearing with the Lupon? What process does the Lupon go through when it comes to handling different kinds of cases? Good evening. You are watching Legal Helpdesk on 9TV. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno.
And I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno. Tonight, we will discuss your legal rights on how the Barangay Justice System, or Lupon, works. What you need to know on the types of cases the Lupon handles and what you need to do to file a case under the Lupon system.
Our guests for tonight are Attorney Leylan Manuel, Associate of the Rodriguez Esquivel Palpal Latok Law Office. Good evening and thank you for being with us, Attorney Leylan.
Good evening, Attorney Karen.
Attorney Leylan, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show. And again, this is a topic that's very relevant to a lot of viewers. No? Kasi I think a lot of people don't know na you have to file through the barangay justice system first before going to the courts.
And there are a lot of cases that are covered. Kanina we gave some enumeration, but basically yung main guideline here is that if you live in the same city or municipality as the other person that you have a dispute with, generally you have to go through the barangay conciliation proceedings.
Yes.
So Attorney Leylan, for those na if you're in the same city or municipality, maybe you can give us an idea, what types of cases are you required to go through the barangay first before you can go to court?
Okay. The cases that must be filed within the barangay includes both civil and criminal cases. It is provided for under the revised penal code and other special laws that referral to the barangay is needed first because that would cause for the dismissal of an action, like for example in a civil case.
Can you enumerate maybe some examples naman? Yung typical, you were, as I understand it, you were a member of the Lupon in your barangay. So you have experience in this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So can you tell us maybe?
Give us an example. Kunwari,
yung mga typical examples of
nambubugbog yung asawa. So that's like a clearly domestic. So this is not just a case na same city or municipality, but obviously the same house.
Yes.
So if the wife wanted to file a case against the husband because of physical abuse, is this something that she can go to court right away, or does she have to go through the barangay?
In that case, it depends upon the injury inflicted upon the woman. Because if the imprisonment exceeds 1 year, the party may go directly to the court. Because if it is less than 1 year or a fine not exceeding 5,000, you must refer to the barangay. Exceeding to that, you can go directly to the court. So if it is falls under VAUSI, may mga cases doon na matataas yung kulong So pwede na silang dumiretso. However,
Dumiretso sa court?
Yeah,
Pagka,
diretso sa
okay.
court. However, nakatarong ang pambarangay may intervene in that case. Like for example, for the issuance of barangay protection order. So that yung
Doon
asawa-
importante yun,
Yes.
may barangay protection order. Kasi yung mga courts, I guess they're not equipped to protect the woman right away, di ba?
The courts can give temporary protection order, pero I guess you'll have, mas matagal nga naman.
Yes.
Ito, normally, they're closer to you, the barangay is there. And I guess, when you mentioned some criminal cases, off the top of my mind, yung mga common scenario dito, you'll have a kasambahay, for instance, na if mahuli mong nagnanakaw, that's qualified theft.
Yes.
But maybe we can clarify that there's a certain amount para makapunta ka sa barangay for this.
Yes. If it is a simple theft lang, in the amount of 50 pesos, if it is a qualified theft, like for example, yung maid, 500 pesos.
Okay. So let's clarify that to our viewers na if, for instance, you find that you have a kasambahay or someone who works with you that stole from you, that's qualified theft kasi merong trust involved. So if the amount is not more than 500 pesos, you can go to the barangay, and that's where actually you're required to go to the barangay, and that's where you should settle the dispute first before you can go to the courts. But if it is more than 500 pesos, then you don't have to go through the barangay. You can immediately file a criminal complaint with the Office of the Prosecutor.
Let's go through the process, no? I guess a lot of people are asking, ano do, punta lang ako sa barangay, will I just walk in and wala nang form bibigay or papablatter pa ako or whatever. Can you give us first the composition? Let's start with the composition. Who composes tong barangay justice system? Paano yung composition yan? Yung barangay captain ba yan? Or ano? Can you tell us how it's composed?
Yes. From the time that the barangay chairman is elected, within 15 days from the assumption of office, he must create a Lupon,
Okay.
by which he will be the Lupon chairman.
Okay. Ano yung composition ng Lupon?
Yeah. Sino mga pwedeng mag-apply ba dyan? Or
Or are they the barangay councils or yung mga konsehal ba dapat?
Yes. The Lupon must be composed of not less than 10, but not more than 20 persons. Okay? And then there will be a notice to the public regarding the appointment of the supposed to be Lupons. And then they will...
So the barangay captain basically recommends kung
Yes.
sino yung appoint niya sa
Tapos
Lupon.
ipopost niya to so that
Yes.
people can either contest
Can
or...
people question it? Can the barangay people question it?
They may recommend for the appointment, and they may also oppose for the appointment based on the impartiality, probity, sense of fairness, patience of the Lupon to be appointed.
Dapat
Yeah.
patience,
Oo,
Rod.
dapat,
so,
oo,
you
kailangan.
might not qualify there.
Baka nga.
Just kidding.
But yun nga, can I question yan? I'm a part of that barangay. And boss, may issue ko dyan, barangay captain, may issue ko dyan sa taong yan. Kasi ginasgas niya yung kotse ko eh. Or may ninakawan ako
Maybe
ng ano,
if
di ba?
merong past records for
Yes.
Pwede ba yun?
the
And can-
morally questionable,
Yes,
you can question them.
Yes, it may be a question of integrity, like for example, or reputation.
Okay. So in that case, can the barangay captain or the punong barangay, can he say no, I'm appointing him anyway?
No, because
so anytime may
if the
question.
member of the community oppose that the appointment of that Lupon, siyempre kailangan makinig din yung kapitan, hindi pwedeng arbitrary yung kanyang
Yeah.
decision. O
So
abuse
basically, there's this whole process to make sure that the people who are members of the Lupon are people of integrity, probity, and are capable of making good decisions.
Yes.
So, ano yung function nitong Lupon? Lupon ng mga taga-pamayapa?
The Lupon is an alternative of the traditional judicial system. So they do not make judgment or adjudicate cases, but their function is to find a reasonable and fair settlement between the disputants in the same community.
So,
okay.
there are
Alright.
different modes, right? You have conciliation, mediation,
Yes.
arbitration. Maybe quickly we can go through each one so that
Yung
people
proseso
who
ba?
are required to go to the barangay conciliation proceedings will know what to expect.
Yes. In conciliation or mediation, if you are questioning asking the the process, they will file a complaint, either orally or in writing.
So pwedeng orally?
Yes.
Pwedeng explain niya lang?
Yes.
Okay.
Before the...
May form ba yan? May kailangan bang form na
Yes.
i-fill up?
Meron din siyang form
Okay.
na pwedeng i-fill up.
Alright.
And then after payment of minimal amount filing fee.
When you say minimal, gaano ka minimal?
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
Baka may
In accordance dun sa na-issue na 1997 na book ng regarding barangay, 20 to 50 pesos.
Okay, very minimal talaga. So for our viewers there, 20 to 50
Okay.
pesos.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that will be given to the barangay treasurer. And then after that, within 3 days, there will be notice of hearing given to the complainant and then summon the respondent to appear to the mediation or conciliation that will be made.
So notices. Notices
Yes.
yan. Okay.
Okay, very interesting. After this, siguro will go into more detail tsaka about
Nasa summons tayo.
Yes.
Notice and summons. Okay, we'll stop there
how
muna.
do the proceedings go when we go to the barangay. But for now, we'll have to take a short break. Legal Help Desk will return, so stay tuned. You're still watching Legal Help Desk on 9TV with our guest, Attorney Leyland Manuel.
Okay, so Attorney Leyland, we were just before the break, we were talking about yung process, no? So basically, pag may complaint na file, sinabi mo magbibigay ng notice sa complainant as to when the hearing will be, no? And then magbibigay ng summons sa respondent, di ba? So after that, but before that, at that point ba naka-compose na yung Lupon or yung yung pangkat? Can you clarify yung Lupon and pangkat and kung sino yung mag-oversee ng mediation?
It is mandatory for every barangay unit in the Philippines that they will be creating a Lupon within 15 days after the barangay chairman assume office.
Okay.
However, the pangkat will be created after the Lupon and the barangay chairman failed to mediate cases filed before them. And then after that, they'll be creating a pangkat, and that pangkat composes of 3 persons from the Lupon itself.
Okay.
From the Lupon itself.
So when they're...
So for instance, if I'm a complainant and then after I file it, and then pinatawag na yung respondent, yung meron akong problem with,
Nandun na. Oh.
Yes.
tatry muna nila na pag-ayusin kami. And then if that fails, then they will create a body of 3 people called the pangkat.
Yes.
And then this pangkat will be hearing the case.
Itong pangkat taken from the Lupon din?
Yes.
Okay,
Yung pool.
so yung start muna, let's say there are 10 to 20 members sa Lupon. So you're saying that those 10, 20 members will be there for each case?
No, because
The
the
3.
disputants, the parties, will be the one to choose of the member of the pangkat. Now, if they will disagree regarding the member of the pangkat, it will be resolved by means of a draw lots.
So, swertihan.
Yes.
And kanina we mentioned the qualifications of the people who formed the Lupon, meaning it's the roster or yung pool of people na pagpipilian every time you choose who the 3 members are of the pangkat.
Yes.
But in this case, if, for instance, I know that the party, the respondent that I'm filing the case against or I'm complaining about, knows one of the people na napili by accident dun sa draw lots.
May connection.
Is that a disqualification? Ano yung mga grounds for disqualifying someone from the pangkat?
The grounds will be in accordance with the local government code, the relationship, bias, or interest, and other similar grounds. If that instances will be present in that case or to one of the parties, the pangkat may be removed as a member of the pangkat, provided that the majority vote will be given by the remaining pangkat, that he will be ousted as a member of the pangkat.
Okay. So now, once it's formed, diba? So we're basically talking about, and the law provides mediation, conciliation, arbitration. Can you probably, for some people, our televiewers might find that a little bit
Yes.
complex, no? Kung merong bang difference yung mediation, conciliation, arbitration.
Yes. In mediation and conciliation, the Lupon or the Pangkat is trying to find a reasonable ways of settling the dispute or the ways that will be fair to both parties. However, if it is an arbitration, the parties would agree prior to that arbitration that they will be bound as regards to the decision that will be made by either Lupon, who made the arbitration, or the Pangkat itself.
So, either maghahanap ng solusyon and parang, in a way, nag-a-assist yung punong barangay and the Lupon, or the Pangkat,
Yes.
diba? Nag-a-assist, diba? To find the solution. Alright.
Yes.
And then the
Okay.
other one, may decision.
Yes,
Okay.
parang mapipilitan
Alright.
sila na sundin.
I
Okay.
think now
Oh.
we'll have to answer
Oh, yes, we have a
questions
caller.
from our viewers. Oo.
We have a caller on the line. His name is Ted. Ted of Quezon City. Ted, good evening.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Pwede pong magtanong.
Yes,
Yes,
Ted. Go
hi
ahead.
Ted.
Kasi po dito po sa aming street, meron pong kaming problema with regards to peace and order. Dahil ho meron pong mga grupo po ng mga teenagers na almost every night nagtatagpo po sila dito sa particular street po namin, right in front of a public elementary school, and then nagra-riot ho sila.
Nagra-riot.
They also make a lot of noise.
Okay.
Nagbabatuhan ho sila, mga basag na bote. Kanino po ba kailangan idulog yung ganito pong problema? Pag yung mismo pong barangay, hindi po nagagampanan yung kanilang tungkulin. Dahil po, natatakot naman po akong pumunta dun sa mismong barangay hall at sabihin ho sa kanila na may problema ho yung kanilang sistema.
Totoo. And
Yun
also,
po.
in this case, Ted, mukhang isang grupo to, no? So pag mapag-initan ka, baka
Yes.
naman ikaw rin yung guluhin sa bahay ninyo, no?
Yun nga po eh. So, dalawa po yung aking kinatatakutan. Yung either yung barangay yung barangay and the group of the kids.
Attorney,
Attorney, anong practical
ikaw,
solution
in
dyan?
this case, anong opinion mo?
Kung sa tingin niya, hindi na practical na magsumbong sa barangay, pwede siyang tumawag ng pulis. In flagrante delicto yun, ng gugulo mismo. Pwede silang hulihin. And in that case, yung case na yun, diretso na sa court.
Can he report to the police na hindi malalaman yung pangalan niya? You know, kasi kinakabahan si Ted na baka tirahin siya or bawian siya, you know.
Maybe. Oh, pwede naman yan.
Pwede naman yun.
Also,
Okay.
I think in this case, Ted can also go to the NBI, right?
Yes.
Na, lalo na Ted, kung every night nangyayari yan, you can give an anonymous tip or anonymous report to the NBI so they can start investigating. Ano ba to, sindikato ba to? Anong klaseng association to? And from there, they can also have the PNP involved, no? So,
Yes.
you don't necessarily have to rely dun lamang sa barangay ninyo, lalo na't kung may kakulangan naman pala yung pag-responde nila dito sa peace and order situation sa barangay ninyo.
Yeah, Ted, every night ba yan? Every night nangyayari, kamo?
Halos every night po. Meron lang pong mga pagitan po ng mga days like kasi
Yun, so, yun na lang
may mga
suggestion,
days,
no?
May mga nights naman pong nagrume-responde rin po yung barangay in fairness to them. Kaya lang po, yung frequency po ng aking pagtawag sa kanila pag-complain, sinasabi ko rin po kung anong time sa night po nandito usually yung mga kids. Pero hindi ho nila tinutugnan dahil hindi ho sila nagpapatrol. Minsan ho tumawag pa ako sa kanila. Ang sabi ho sa akin nung nakausap ko, bakit hindi nyo sinupil? Sa akin ho ipinapasa yung responsibilidad.
Well, actually, in this case, yun, Ted, you can complain, file a report, or yung anonymous report nga or anonymous tip
police,
sa NBI and then
Kasi
sa
yung,
PNP.
Yes?
Yung case na kasi pwedeng mag-fall under alarm and scandal, which
Yes.
is
It's a criminal case,
nasa
di ba?
authority ng barangay. So kung identify niya yung mga tao, identified niya, file siya ng complaint sa barangay, kung hindi umattend, ma-issuean siya sooner ng certificate to file action, then at that time, pwede niya nang idiretso sa court.
But in this case
One
nga,
way.
I think yung isa sa mga
safety
ina-avoid
kasi.
ni Ted is one,
Yes.
parang siya mismo sinasabihan, ikaw na bahala dito. Then second, yung safety niya rin. So,
Yeah,
I
police
think one, that's an option, no? Because you can also, Ted, tell the NBI and PNP na kaya ka sa kanila dumudulog ay dahil hindi nga
Hindi mo
siya
na kaya.
natutugunan dun sa barangay nyo mismo. Because even for the barangay officials, that's really parang a dereliction of their duty.
Correct.
No?
Yes.
Napagpapabaya yun sa trabaho nila na hindi nila natutugunan yun. Sana, Ted, nakatulong kami sa tanong mo.
Sige po, maraming pong salamat.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. We have a next question from Omar naman. Is there a government agency enhancing the ability and knowledge of barangay officials in handling cases or complaints? Magandang question. Kanina lang si Ted, parang ito rin yung, sana nanonood pa si Ted because this is also related to his concern.
Yes.
Na parang nire-report niya sa
Hindi nito
barangay.
tinutugunan yung
Oo.
duties, no? Hindi, I guess they're not
Either
following.
it's lack of
following
information
lack of-
or dereliction of duty.
dereliction
But-
of duty nga. So, would you know kung may training? You were part of the Lupon, right?
Yes.
Nagkaroon ka ba ng training? Apart from your lawyer, so obviously nagka-training ka, but how about, let's say, yung training sa barangay mismo?
Yes, may mga sangay naman ng gobyerno, agencies of the government helping to enhance the knowledge of the Lupon, like the Department of Justice, the
So,
Department of the
mga
Local
seminars
Government.
Mga seminars?
Yes,
Okay.
Liga ng Barangay,
Okay.
Sanggunian mismo. Ayun, tumutulong naman po sila.
Okay. All right, we have a question from Tim naman, and Tim asks, I had an altercation with somebody from a different barangay. How and where should I file a case against him? What is the process, and is there a fee involved? Ayan, I think we mentioned about the fee earlier, no?
Yes.
More or less 50 pesos to 100 pesos.
20 to 50.
All right. Now, he's yung kalaban niya, altercation niya is from another barangay.
Yes.
So what is the process? Where will he file the complaint?
Provided na yung barangay na yun within the same city or municipality, he may file the case to the barangay of that respondent, kung saan nakatira yung respondent. So, yun na yung magiging venue ng
And I
case.
think dapat depende kung ano yung naging resulta ng altercation. Kasi if this results in less serious physical injuries or slight physical injuries, pwede sa barangay.
Yes.
But if it's serious physical injuries, kailangan dumiretso na siya sa public prosecutor para i-file tong kaso na to.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, attorney. And we'll have more pa to discuss. So, hindi
marami
ka pa
pa.
pwedeng umalis.
Hindi ka pa pwedeng umalis.
Oo, we'll take another short break. Legal Help Desk will return after these messages. You're still watching Legal Help Desk on 9TV with our guest attorney Leylan Manuel, and now joining us is attorney Ian Encarnacion, associate of the Fortune Salazar Narvasa Law Office. And right now we also have another caller on the line. Hello, Marvin.
Yes, hello, Paul.
Hi,
Yes.
Marvin. Good evening.
Yes, hello, good evening. Sorry about the delay with the phone. May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, my question is with regards to the barangay justice system. If you have any disputes, small disputes with either a councillor or the barangay captain, how can you go to the mediation process in the barangay hall? Is that possible?
So Marvin, your dispute is with the barangay
Captain himself.
captain himself or a member of the barangay officials?
Yes, that's right, ma'am.
Okay, so
All right,
Attorney Ian and
Attorney
Attorney Leylan, they're both members here of the Lupon, Marvin. So
their respective
they're good-
barangays, yeah.
so they're good people to ask.
We'll give Attorney Ian a chance. You just
A
joined us in.
mediator, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
You know, Marvin, this is a bit particular scenario wherein the Lupon tagapamayapa or the barangay justice is quite silent. What if your concern, what if your problem is with the punong barangay or the barangay councilmans themselves? Now, what I would suggest is that if it is with the punong barangay who with whom you have a problem, is I suggest that you refer it to the DILG,
To the
to
department.
the local government
unit.
officer. There is a DILG officer in every municipality or city.
So the Department of Interior and Local Government unit
Yes.
in that particular municipality or City Hall.
Yes, but I have to ask Marvin, what is that particular problem you have with your punong barangay or the barangay captain?
Yes, I think you just asked. I'm sorry, the telephone line's very bad. No, it was a couple of years ago. It was just a dispute, a complaint about him, what was happening in a legal case. And, I didn't know what to do at the time, where to complain. I mean, it has been settled now.
Oh, it's been settled.
It's been settled. All right. So, but I guess, as recommended by Attorney Ian, the next time it does happen, we hope it doesn't happen again, that you can refer to the officer of the Department of Interior Local Government, normally in your municipality or your city.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. One very, very quickly, sir, as well. I mean, I did hear many years ago from an attorney, obviously being a foreigner, although I am resident here, and I got told something about we shouldn't go through the barangay system.
That was your friend's advice, your lawyer's advice?
Yes, I mean, it was different cases. Obviously, every case is different. But I was told just to report direct to the police and do a blotter copy. Now, I probably wrongly presumed that you did that with any little dispute. You just blotted it, and I went through the police investigators, etc. But maybe I should have gone through the barangay hall.
Yeah. Well, Marvin, just as a tip, under the law which creates this whole barangay conciliation proceedings, lawyers are not allowed to appear in the barangay conciliation proceedings. So maybe if the person advising you is a lawyer, then they would advise you not to use the barangay process. Although when the barangay process is mandatory, you cannot go to court because your case would be subject to dismissal if you don't go through the barangay proceeding, which requires you to show a certification that you actually went through the proceedings before the case can proceed.
Karen, may I add to that your advice to Marvin? We have to distinguish first what is the action involved in this case. If it is a civil or criminal action, which is normally cognizable by the barangay, even if the respondent or the other party is the punong barangay or the councilman himself, Marvin can bring the case before the barangay itself. The barangay where the punong barangay is, where he is the chair.
The chair.
But if the case, as what Marvin has told us, it's about the punong barangay handling a legal question, if I'm not mistaken, then my advice earlier, which is to go to the DILG, would be proper.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Marvin, we hope we answered your question.
Yes, thank you, guys. I much appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have a next question from Justin. Justin asks, a neighbor owes me money amounting to 50,000 pesos. Is it more advisable to bring this issue to the barangay, or can I directly go to the courts and have this settled there? Which is faster? Attorney Ian?
All right.
Go ahead.
Now, a neighbor owes you money. The question is, are you going for the civil or the criminal aspect of this case? If it is a case if it is a civil case, you have to undergo barangay conciliation proceedings before you go to court. Because you cannot just go to court without passing through the barangay justice system.
You need that certification from the barangay.
You need the certificate to file action in court. Otherwise,
your
case would be dismissed either for being prematurely filed or for failure to comply with a condition precedent. Now, if you're going for a criminal case, for example, estafa, now, we have to distinguish how much the person owes you. In this case, since it's 50,000, under the revised penal code, if someone owes you or if someone defrauds you for more than 22,000 pesos, that is already punishable by more than, I think that's a reclusion, that's a prison mayor already. So it is beyond the competence of the
So it should be filed directly
Katarungan
with the
I think
courts.
for estafa, which is the case that if someone owes you money and there's estafa involved, the limit for them to go to the barangay is 5,000 pesos?
5,000 pesos is for the fine.
Yes. Or is it 200? I think it's 200 pesos.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's 200 pesos.
But if this is the case, estafa, it must, I would say that it must still pass through the barangay system.
Okay.
But of course, Marvin can go directly to the policeman and to the police station and
File a report.
file a complaint.
File a complaint. All right.
Okay, we have another question from Peter. A neighbor wrecked a wide portion of my fence in a drunken stupor, and we filed a complaint to the barangay already. However, I am not satisfied with the decision the Lupon made. Can I forward my case to the court?
Ano yan? Is that parang he wants to appeal, I guess? He
Yeah,
wants-
so parang hindi siya
It's not
satisfied
happy.
dun sa naging decision.
Yes, so actually, maraming ganyang instances wherein parties are not satisfied. I believe
Attorney Leyland,
Leyland can attest to that. Now, but you know, once you have a compromise agreement within the barangay setup, within the barangay judicial system, if that compromise agreement was not obtained through fraud, intimidation, or force, generally, you can no longer appeal that. Why? Because you were there at the barangay level, personally talking to the respondent. Had you not been satisfied with what was being
Resolved. What was resolved, yeah.
what was resolved or what was being offered by the respondent,
Then you can
he should
just
not
not
have
agree.
he
Should
should
have not
have
agreed.
not agreed
What
in
if
the
it's
first place.
arbitration? That's easy to say for
Yes.
mediation or conciliation. But what if it's arbitration? Kasi mediation, conciliation, it's really the agreement of the parties. But if you have arbitration as a mode, then it's one of those
the decision.
pangkat that will decide. So how can you say na I do not accept the decision of the pangkat? Is that possible?
But even that, they kind of agreed that they will agree to the arbitration decision, right?
Well, you know, if you agree to abide by the arbitration proceedings, you cannot contest that.
Yeah, so no more appeal.
No more
So,
appeal.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So, yes, Attorney Leland.
To add, if he wants to change their settlement or to nullify or whatsoever protest, he may do so within 10 days. But after 10 days, that would have the force and effect of a final judgment of court.
Yes.
So,
okay.
cannot
Alright.
do
So guys, be assertive. If you do not agree, anyway, pag walang settlement, ang mangyayari is certify yan ng pangkat, ng
yes.
punong barangay that you can now go to court.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on, Art is asking, what if the respondent does not appear to the hearings with the Lupon? Can the same case be filed again? So in this case, the respondent was given a notice or summons but did not appear. What are the consequences to that?
Well, you know, if the respondent does not appear in the proceedings of the Lupon, the case will be filed for failure to settle. Because as we understand, and I believe as Attorney Leyland has already explained earlier, that the process of the barangay justice system, it is conciliatory in nature. So, if at that level, the other party or the respondent does not wish to amicably settle with the other party, of course, the plaintiff cannot be, the complainant cannot be held hostage by the non-appearance of the respondent.
So what's
Which
his...
means the complainant
yeah.
can then go to court.
Yes, the
Yeah.
complainant can then go to court.
Okay.
And to add, if the case is already in court, the respondent cannot file any counterclaim against the complainant, as that would be one of the effect of non-appearance with the Lupon.
And the respondent cannot also claim that you failed to file in the barangay level first.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he can't
he
claim that
cannot-
as a defense.
Yes, he
Okay,
cannot
so
claim
that should serve as a warning to our viewers. If you get a notice as a respondent in a barangay conciliation proceedings, for instance, yung kapitbahay mo, riniklamo kayo, finailan ka ng case sa Lupon, and then you just ignored it, you don't appear, then be careful, because when it goes to court and then you're, of course, one of the respondents na pwedeng masummons, you cannot be able to file your counterclaims, right? So, again, take it seriously.
Yeah, take this barangay justice system very seriously. Right? So, all right.
Okay, so
Wow.
as of now, parang bitin yung
I-
time,
yeah.
no? We
I
still
feel
have so
deprived.
much questions.
I feel
yeah.
deprived. There's so many more questions,
Yeah.
but I think we should really have a part 2 for this because there's a lot more that we should touch on. But unfortunately,
But thank you
yeah.
very much, Attorney Leyland and Attorney Ian.
Thank you,
As
guys.
members
Thank
of
you,
the
Rod.
Lupon, your inputs were really very helpful.
And you're doing the country proud. You're
Yeah.
you're doing your responsibility.
Yes, and I hope you end up having more successful cases at the barangay level to also decongest our
Yeah.
courts.
Yes, really,
Right.
really important.
So thank you. We'd like to thank our guests again, Attorney Leyland Manuel, Associate of Rodriguez Esquivel, Palpal, Latoclo Office, and Attorney Ian Encarnacion, an Associate at the Fortune Salazar, Narvasa Law Office. Legal Helpdesk will be back, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Legal Help Desk on 9TV. And tonight we had a very interesting topic,
Yeah.
the barangay conciliation proceedings.
Yeah, I think because everyone is in the barangay somewhere. So and this is kind of the first tier, no? I guess the first level of justice that we can get, di ba? I think a lot of people are not aware immediately. Parang knee-jerk reaction of most people is if there's a case, I'll have to go to hire a lawyer and go to court. But that's not actually the case, di ba? Especially if you live or you're the one you're going up against or you're complaining about is living within the same city or municipality.
Yes. Also, again, usually if there's a dispute, our automatic way of thinking is, okay, I'll already file in court or I will file a case in court. So again, for all our viewers out there, there's this barangay conciliation proceedings, which is mandatory for a lot of cases, whether it's civil or criminal cases, because again, if this is required and then you go to court right away, then you risk, or basically what's going to happen is that you file a case, you waste all of that time preparing, and then your case will be dismissed by the court. So again, it's very important to learn about these barangay conciliation proceedings. And this happens often because normally if the other party if the respondent, for instance, lives in the same city or municipality as you, as the complainant, then you generally have to go through barangay conciliation proceedings. And the only exception would be some of the cases are not subject to barangay conciliation proceedings. For instance, just as what we mentioned earlier, when it's qualified theft, meaning if it's theft by someone in a position of trust, like a kasambahay or a driver or one of your employees, then you cannot go to the barangay proceedings if the amount involved is more than 500 pesos. So maliit lang yung threshold amount.
Yes.
In that case, you can go directly to the public prosecutor. But for other cases, lalo na yung mga away, utang, or yung mga nasira, yung bakod ninyo, nung kapitbahay ninyo, then you are actually required to undergo barangay conciliation proceedings.
The list of cases are actually very long. They're in the law. It will be too long for us to kind of list down
Yung mga
everything.
iba na alala ko, acts
But-
of lasciviousness.
Oh, mga acts of
kung
lasciviousness.
May
yung mga-
naninilip, yan.
Yan.
Oh.
Tsaka, yeah, so be careful there. Tapos yung mga, let's say, may mga naggagasgas ng kotse nyo, or let's say, may nagnakaw ng aso nyo, or di ba, there are a lot of these incidences among neighbors usually. For example, may taong may utang sa inyo, maybe whether it's contract or humiram lang. Those are the cases, no? There's also estafa, yung mga small cases of estafa, qualified theft, nagnakaw ang maid nyo or yung kapitbahay nyo, ganun. These cases usually fall under the barangay justice system. As mentioned by Attorney Karen, be careful, no? Because you have to, if you are complaining against someone within your same city and the same municipality, it's required that you file this case first with the barangay. And there are three processes, no? Well, actually two processes, mediation and conciliation. In that case, the Punong Barangay and the Lupon will try to work out and assist you in coming up with a compromise agreement or a parang settlement, no, on how to settle all the issues. And then the other option is arbitration. In that case naman, when both parties decide na, okay, you arbitrate, meaning whatever decision you come up with, irerespetuhin namin. Okay, in that case, that's called arbitration. Once a decision is made from the arbitration proceedings, you have to respect that decision as well and cannot be appealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with respect to what you said, estafa is one of the cases covered by the barangay conciliation proceedings, meaning it's mandatory, but the amount should not be more than 200 pesos.
Oh.
Oo. And then, good news to people out there, at the barangay conciliation proceedings level, bawal ang lawyers.
No, bawal tayo dun.
Bawal.
Bawal tayo dun.
So,
Okay.
talagang it's meant to be cost efficient.
Yeah, I
So,
think,
one, you don't have to pay lawyers' fees, and then even yung preparation ng complaint, madali lang, may form lang kayong fill upan. But then again, another advantage is also, apart from the cost, is the time, because it's supposed to take faster, because there are days that are mandatory, meaning I think they have to decide within 15 days,
Yeah.
mga ganyan. So, it's meant to be, one, cheaper, second, faster. So this is really an option that people should look into. And lastly, don't worry that if there's no settlement at the barangay level, because at that point, pagka talagang grabe yung conflict or it's too complicated, hindi kayang ayusin just through conciliation or mediation or arbitration, then what's going to happen here is that the punong barangay will issue a certification to file action. And this is what you will present to the court once a case is filed there.
And required ng court yun normally, di ba? So yun. And just quick notes, if you're a corporation, you don't fall under this barangay justice system. Meaning, if it's a corporation filing a case against a respondent or a complainant filing against a corporation within the same city or municipality, it's not covered. And also, once a case is decided, the punong barangay and the barangay council, I guess, has the power, no, to take over some of the properties. Kunyari, if it's a claim, can take over some of your properties to satisfy what is due to the complainant. All right. Now, over the week, we have received some questions from our viewers on topics we have previously discussed. And here's a question from John. John is asking, what are the things needed to present in a court hearing when it comes to land acquisition? Okay.
Okay, that's a very odd question lang. To the extent na land acquisition, does he mean he's trying to prove,
Trying to prove
a contract
ownership.
of sale?
Yeah, he's trying to prove an
no,
ownership.
land acquisition, so you're going to acquire. So,
Yeah.
John, if you're trying to prove a contract of sale of land, meaning based on the events that happened, bumili ka ng lupa, and then you're trying to prove that because the person that you bought the land from is contesting it or denying that you had a transaction, then the best document you can show would be the contract of sale.
Yeah.
And it really helps if that contract of sale is notarized, because for a contract of sale to be enforceable, when you're talking about real property, meaning mga lupa, then it has to be in a public document. And that's, again, when you have a contract written, that's the best evidence of that transaction.
And that's binding to the whole world. No? If it's notarized, it's binding to the whole world.
Pagka na-register niya sa
Na-register niya.
Register of Deeds.
Yes. Yes. And also, I guess, if you're proving ownership, I guess payment of taxes and that you paid the appropriate taxes for that land acquisition or transaction. No?
And of course, the owner's certificate of title or transfer certificate of
Yeah, there you
title
go.
that's issued by the Register of
Yes.
Deeds. Yan yung best din na mapapakita mo as proof of your ownership of land.
Yep. Right. Okay.
Our next recap question is from Erica. I'm an OFW and would like to know what my rights are concerning my 5-year-old son who is now with my ex-husband and his mother. They are not allowing my own mother to visit my son or to take care of him. I later learned that they moved and did not inform any member of my family about their, I guess,
Their
new
address.
address. Can I file a case against my husband and his mother? And if so, what? Can I file this even if I am not in the country?
Yeah.
So simulan natin dun sa filing, even if she's not in the country.
Technically,
even
yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
abroad, you can file a case here in the Philippines. But as to whether she can file a case, it's a little complicated.
Whether she will win or not, that's a different question.
Yes, because as parents of your child, you share joint parental authority with the father. Although it was not mentioned if they're married, no?
Wala. Walang
Because
sinabi.
if you're married, then you share joint parental authority over the child. But if this is an illegitimate child, then it's really the mother who has parental authority.
And it's 5-year-old son. Eh.
5-year-old.
So mother dapat.
So dapat the mother has parental authority. But okay, assuming married talaga kayo and you share joint parental authority, then yung mother mo does not have parental authority over your son. So it's not, there's really, parang wala siyang case na mapafile to get custody.
No actionable cause.
Oo.
No?
Although, again, we have our civil code, which has a general provision on damages. Like, any damage that you caused, because any person in their exercise of their rights must act in good faith. And so, if they are purposely hiding the son from your mother, and this is causing a lot of moral damages, meaning anxiety,
or
yung
stress, you're stressed out, it stresses
yes,
you out, and
sleepless nights.
Yeah, sleepless nights. Yeah.
Then you can file a case for damages against your husband or the father and the mother-in-law.
Okay, so I guess that's the best, no? Yung parang an action for damages. 'Cause your mother doesn't have parental authority over your son. So
Yes,
that's the thing.
but then again, if you are the mother, the biological mother na, and then the child is illegitimate, meaning nasa iyo dapat yung parental authority, yung pag-move nila, meaning yung pag-transfer nila to another house without informing you, that can even be considered kidnapping.
Yes.
This is assuming walang parental authority yung asawa mo. Because the mother-in-law, wala talaga.
All right. Okay, our last question is from Jules. Hello, Jules. A friend's husband married another woman while working in Dubai at the Philippine Embassy. Can the husband be liable for bigamy? And can he be prosecuted here in the Philippines, considering that the bigamous marriage was celebrated and committed at the Philippine Embassy, which is considered an extension of Philippine territory or sovereignty? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Jules, good news for Jules's friend.
Yeah.
Because bigamy actually, it can be committed regardless nga if the marriage was not in the Philippine Embassy. Because if you're a Filipino, then you're not allowed to contract a second marriage because we do not allow that in the Philippines. So if you're Filipino, even if you're abroad, it doesn't matter. Your previous marriage still stays as legal, valid, and binding. So in this case, a case for bigamy can be filed against
this one
your
is
friend.
probably more of practicality because he's in Dubai, so it might be a challenge to file a case against him there. But if he was here, he can definitely file a case against him for bigamy. That's for sure. All right, that's all the time that we have for tonight. We would like to thank our viewers, you, for sending in your questions via our social media pages. I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno.
And I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. If you have any questions on our topic for tonight, post these on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Join us again next Monday as we discuss your legal rights. Good night.
Pananaw namin, pagharapin, bigyan ang kapwa ng pag-uusap, ibigay ang mga ebidensya at gagawin po namin na nararapat para magkabate ang dalawang panig. Mga krimen na masasabi po natin na lumalabas lang po pagka medyo ma-pride. Sa konting bagay lang ay ayaw po makipagkasundo, binibigyan po namin ng medyo mahaba-habang pag-uusap. Pero kung humingi sila ng endorsement para i-file ang action to doon sa higher court, wala po kang magagawa.
Under the Local Government Code of 1991, the barangay has the power to settle cases such as maltreatment, physical injuries, qualified trespass to a dwelling, coercion, abandonment, thefts, acts of lasciviousness, and many others.
Ang gagawin naman po ng Lupon ay ito pang timbangin, pag-aralan, at magbigay ng advice. Hindi po hatol, kundi po payo sa mga taga-barangay upang ang kanilang problema ay magkaroon ng ganap na kalutasan sa pamamagitan ng mabalayang talakayan.
However, many people are not aware of the power that the barangay and the Lupon has over settling a wide range of cases. How does the Lupon work? What happens during a hearing with the Lupon? What process does the Lupon go through when it comes to handling different kinds of cases? The barangay is the oldest and smallest form of government in the Philippines, dating back to pre-colonial era. The role of the barangay is to serve as the implementing arm of government by providing immediate services to the community.
Katarungang pambarangay na binigay po ng national through the DILG, gampanan ang sinasabi pong katarungan. Kasi po bilang kapitan, may power po ako na masasabing dictate by the government na implement the rules of law na sinasabi po nga natin na walang kaibigan, walang kamag-anak. So, in any rule po, by the book, kung nagkamali, kailangan patunayan mo, bigyan mo ng implement kung as head ka of the barangay.
The barangay also serves as a venue or forum where residents of a barangay can express their problems and have their disputes with other members of the barangay settled.
Sa amin po, krimen, sa case po namin, maganda po ang...
However,
Dumiretso sa court.
Yeah,
Pagka,
diretso sa
okay.
court. However, nakatarungang pambarangay may intervene in that case, like for example, for the issuance of barangay protection order. So that yung
Doon importante yun,
yes.
may barangay protection order. Kasi yung mga courts, I guess they're not equipped to protect the woman right away, di ba?
The courts can give temporary protection order, pero I guess you'll have, mas matagal nga naman.
Yes.
Ito, normally, they're closer to you, the barangay is there. And I guess, when you mentioned some criminal cases, off the top of my mind, yung mga common scenario dito, you'll have a kasambahay, for instance, na if mahuli mong nagnanakaw, that's qualified theft.
Yes.
But maybe we can clarify that there's a certain amount para makapunta ka sa barangay for this.
Yes, if it is a simple theft lang, in the amount of 50 pesos, if it is a qualified theft, like for example, yung maid, 500 pesos.
Okay. So let's clarify that to our viewers na if, for instance, you find that you have a kasambahay or someone who works with you that stole from you, that's qualified theft kasi merong trust involved. So if the amount is not more than 500 pesos, you can go to the barangay, and that's where actually you're required to go to the barangay, and that's where you should settle the dispute first before you can go to the court. So you can go to court.
Okay. The cases that must be filed within the barangay includes both civil and criminal cases. It is provided for under the revised penal code and other special laws that referral to the barangay is needed first because that would cause for the dismissal of an action, like for example in a civil case.
Can you enumerate maybe some examples naman? Yung typical, you were, as I understand it, you were a member of the Lupon in your barangay. So you have experience in this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So can you tell us maybe?
Give us an example. Kunwari,
yung mga typical examples of
nambubugbog yung asawa. So that's like a clearly domestic. So this is not just a case na same city or municipality, but obviously the same house.
Yes.
So if the wife wanted to file a case against the husband because of physical abuse, is this something that she can go to court right away, or does she have to go through the barangay?
In that case, it depends upon the injury inflicted upon the woman. Because if the imprisonment exceeds 1 year, the party may go directly to the court. Because if it is less than 1 year or a fine not exceeding 5,000, you must refer to the barangay. Exceeding to that, you can go directly to the court. So if it is falls under vowsy, yung mga cases doon na matataas yung kulong So pwede na silang dumiretso.
Good evening. You are watching Legal Helpdesk on 9TV. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno.
And I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno. Tonight, we will discuss your legal rights on how the Barangay Justice System, or Lupon, works. What you need to know on the types of cases the Lupon handles and what you need to do to file a case under the Lupon system.
Our guests for tonight are Attorney Leyland Manuel, Associate of the Rodriguez Esquivel Palpal Latok Law Office. Good evening and thank you for being with us, Attorney Leyland.
Good evening, Attorney Karen.
Attorney Leyland, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show. And again, this is a topic that's very relevant to a lot of viewers. No? Kasi I think a lot of people don't know na you have to file through the barangay justice system first before going to the courts.
And there are a lot of cases that are covered. Kanina we gave some enumeration, but basically yung main guideline here is that if you live in the same city or municipality as the other person that you have a dispute with, generally you have to go through the barangay conciliation proceedings. So Attorney Leyland, for those na if you're in the same city or municipality, maybe you can give us an idea what types of cases are you required to go through the barangay first before